Hello my beautiful buds. Welcome back to my channel, Express with Joy. My name is Joy, and if you like to talk about plants, you're in the right place. I wanted to take you guys along with me to check out my plants, see what they're doing this winter. And honestly, even though it's winter time, like we're in the middle of December, a lot of my plants are still growing and still doing fine. I've got like 3 humidifiers running in my house right now, so I've been like running around frantically refilling them every day, it feels like. But I don't know, it's also fun. So yeah, let's see what's happening in my collection. Okay, right off the bat, here is my lovely philodendron mame, which is one of my favorite plants in my collection right now, I think. For a while, he was really awkward, but I think he's starting to finally kind of grow into himself. He's starting to keep leaves. He's starting to crawl along the pot. Now, if you watched my most recent video, the one before this one, you would know that he has spider mites that we have been fighting. I don't see any on him presently because I've been pretty much like every other day I spray him down and kind of massage the leaves and clean them off and hope for the best. But honestly, this is the newest leaf that came in. There's a new caterpillar over here where there's a leaf, you know, going to emerge. You know, maybe I'd expect the next few weeks, but yeah, this is the newest leaf and he's just so beautiful. He's starting to size up more, which is really exciting. So yes, this is like a big highlight plant for me this winter because he's still growing, and even though he has spider mites, he's, you know, not too unhappy, I don't think. Right here is my Syngonium albo. I recently chopped and propped this plant and added a plank for her to grow up, and she has put out a few awkward leaves. Like this is an all white leaf right here. I don't know how well you can see that, but of course it's starting to brown off because it does not have any chlorophyll to help plant out. So that's dying off as expected. And then there are a few oddly shaped leaves like this one right here, and those occurred you know, it was some of the newest growth after I chopped and propped the plant, but since then she's been putting out some better, like slightly less awkward growth. So I'm hoping that she figures herself out. There's always new leaves coming in here, and you know, as she grows, I'll just need to attach her more to the plank and hope that she grows along it. But yeah, this is one of my favorite plants, I think, in general, just because the variegation on it is just so stunning. And let me tell you, this plant propagates so easily. It's delightful. So yeah, she's a little bit of a hot mess, but still pretty. And as always, I mean, my Alocasia Black Velvet is just stunning. She has not been putting out any leaves recently, but she also hasn't been losing any leaves, which I'm grateful for, because I know that these guys can get dormant in the winter, and sometimes, you know, alocasias do lose all of their leaves just because they seem very affected by the seasons based on what I've seen online. But this is my only alocasia, and you know, she's never done that to me. I had her, oh, let's see, I got her sometime last winter, and she didn't do that for me last winter, and she's not doing it for me now. So I'm hoping that she stays the way that she is, that she's stable. I don't really expect her to grow, but you know, as long as she's stable, I'm happy. Up here, I've got my Philodendron Dark Lord, which let me tell you, I really think it's a Philodendron arabescens thing in particular, because this is, you know, this is technically the same species, I think, as the Pink Princess. But they're different cultivars. That's what it seems to me. Like they're both technically Philodendron arabescens. If I'm wrong about that, let me know, but I'm pretty sure that's the case because they have very similar growth patterns and their leaves both get stuck. So this guy, I started trying to help out this leaf, but I was getting nervous because it started kind of getting ripped. So I'm just gonna hope for the best, and I'm gonna mist him occasionally and hope that he figures himself out, and maybe I just need to water him more. I don't know. And here's my Hoya linearis, which is beautiful, but yeah, he pretty much has stopped growing for me recently, which was really odd because he was taking off for a long time. So it could be a winter thing, but out of precaution, I also gave him some sulfur fungicide treatment, as you can see. My string of hearts, Silver Glory, has just been putting out some nice steady growth, but nothing like too crazy. Like she definitely grows a lot more during the summer months, which, I mean, can you blame her? Okay, let me tell you, I really feel like when you air layer, it promotes growth because, of course, you know, you're stimulating some root growth here, so there's extra growth. Kind of like when plants root into a moss pole and then their leaves size up along with that. Like yes, they're climbing upwards, which they like, so they're gonna size up because of that, but they also mature because they have a bigger root system, I believe. So when you add, you know, an air layered section, I've noticed that my plants tend to size up a lot, or it stimulates new growth, you know, in addition to, hey, you get roots for so that you can cut. But like right here is a new Monstera Peru leaf that's coming up after it shot out a runner, and this happened within like a week of me adding this air layered sphagnum moss here. So that's really exciting, some new growth that, you know, she's been pretty dormant for a while. So I'm glad that she's finally starting to grow again for me, which is really nice. And then a similar story for my Philodendron Atabacoense, although he has been more of a steady grower for me compared to the Monstera Peru, for sure. Like, he hasn't really stopped growing at all, but his leaves are starting to size up, which is really, really nice. Like, look at that leaf right there. That's the newest leaf, but then he's also shooting out this leaf, and look at that caterpillar. Like, I feel like that leaf is going to be massive. Like, I expect that to be the biggest leaf yet, for sure. And of course, he also is air layered, so I think, you know, the budding root system that's happening here is definitely supporting this leaf, I think. That's my theory anyway. And then over here in this little corner, we've got, oh my gosh, I'm loving this plant more and more. This is my Philodendron Summer Glory. This was the most recent leaf that she gave me after I acquired her. It's a bit smaller than the other leaf that came before it, but sometimes that's to be expected. Like when you get a plant, the first leaf that they give you is often smaller just because it's still acclimating to your environment. But look at this newest leaf that's coming in right here. Oh my goodness. Like that. Look at that color. Can you see that? I don't know. It's a little bit backlit because of the window there. So I hope that you can see it. Here, maybe I'll give you a better look. Yeah, look at that. The veins are pinkish, kind of like almost like a salmon color. And there's the newest leaf. Oh, I'm so excited to see it come out. Like, let me tell you, these leaves are just a joy to watch emerge. So if you don't have a Philodendron Summer Glory yet, highly recommend them. They're a hybrid between the Philodendron Gloriosum, hence why it is a crawler, along with, I think it's the Macaulay's Finale is what it's hybridized with. So, beautiful lady. Then over in this window, my Hoya Mathilde is still going strong, still growing a lot, starting to make her way up the trellis. And then my Ficus Taniki very occasionally will put out new leaves. Like, it takes a while, but look at that. Look at that color. Oh, it's beautiful. I love how they come out red, and then of course, you know, they kind of turn more white where the red was. But, oh, beautiful. There's some fun things happening here. Like, nothing insane, but a few fun things. Which actually, I think I'm gonna turn off my grow lights just because I feel like there can be a lot of backlighting that happens over here. So, and then I guess maybe this one can stay. That's probably right. So over here I actually wanted to show you, this is my new humidifier. It is a levoit one, and maybe I can link the specific kind down below because I just don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, this is replacing my Elecholms humidifier because that one pooped out on me. Although, you know, I don't necessarily think that it's completely like the humidifier's fault or anything like that. I really enjoyed that humidifier while I had it, but I think that there was some user error on my part. I probably didn't clean it as often as I should have. And also, I did have it on the floor, which I think was technically a no-no. And I don't know for sure if that was what caused the problem, but I do think a big part of the problem was that the fan on it stopped working, so it wasn't like blowing out the humid mist or whatever. And there are a few other issues with it too that I won't get into, but I did get this one instead. It is a cheaper humidifier. It's a little bit more simple. So my Elec Homes one had both like a warm mist and a cool mist option, but this one is just cool mist, and you know, it doesn't have like some of the fancy options. Like it just has this knob right here where you turn the power level of the mist like pretty much any humidifier out there. So my Elec Homes one also definitely had a bigger output, if that makes sense. But you know, I think that this one actually works quite well for what I need, because my Elec Homes one could make this entire room like 80 to 90% humidity. Like it was kind of like a rainforest in here if I set it at the highest setting. Whereas this one at the highest setting, it'll bring the humidity up to like 65% or sometimes 70% on like a good day, like if it's already kind of humid outside already. But honestly, that's all I really need. Like I don't necessarily want my bedroom to be a swamp. I just need that little boost of humidity so that it goes from like 30s to 40s to like 50s and 60s, you know what I mean? And then I find that that keeps my plants totally happy throughout the winter. So yes, this is quite nice so far. I haven't tried like cleaning it or anything yet, or replacing the filter that it comes with, but so far I do feel like the manual that it came with definitely has clearer instructions when compared to the Elec Homes one. So hopefully I don't make the same mistakes. I did put it here instead of on the floor where my old Elec Homes one was, but yeah, I like it. It is nice. Okay, I think I'm also going to close these blinds so that these plants are not super backlit. But yeah, typically, so this is a north-facing window, so you know, it's very soft ambient type light. And then up here I have just a pendant grow light, and then down here is a new addition. I just added this little desk lamp with a grow light in it to kind of get some of these lower plants down here, especially in the winter time, because you know, these plants down here do get a little bit of western exposure from a west window across on the other side of the room. But in the winter time, that is an abysmal amount of light because it's basically overcast all the time here during the winter. Like we might get like one day in the week that's a bit sunnier, but for the most part it is not. Even though this grow light down here is not like the most aesthetically pleasing, it's definitely doing the plants down here some good, I think, where the grow light that's up here doesn't really hit them as much. It's pretty far from the grow light. So I don't know if I'll have it here all year long, but at least for the winter time, I think it'll be good. So yeah, let's get into these plants. My philodendron fuzzy petiole right here is pretty happy, I think, with the new light because he's got a new leaf coming in right here. But of course, I feel like he's always putting out lots of new leaves because there's also one here and one here. He just generally has a lot of growth points here. And I think I really need to get this guy on some sort of a pole or better support soon, because I have like a little stake holding him up right there. I don't know how well you can see that, but other than that, I mean, he's just kind of flopping all over the place. So I like him. He's funky and fun, but yeah, I think it'll be a good idea to get him a better support someday. And then right here is my Syngonium confetti, which I think that it has some new leaves emerging. They're kind of hard to see, but this is a fairly recent leaf, and I think that having the grow light down here on the floor has made a big difference because the pink is a little bit more populated and vibrant, and like the leaf is paler compared to some of these other leaves that are a bit darker. So yeah, and then here, let's see if I can get you guys to see. I don't know, do you see that little bit right there? It's a little nubbin coming out, and then another one. Whoop. Right there. And if you suddenly heard some like talking in the background, I think my husband got home recently and I think he's watching TV downstairs. It's a little bit loud, but oh well. Let's see. And then, oh, my Syngonium erythrophyllum. If you saw my winter favorites video, you'd know that this guy just exploded with growth, and he has even more leaves that are starting to emerge now. So right there, see that little guy? So I'm really eager to see this guy continue to grow. He's honestly been really easy so far, and I'm gonna like repot him into a new pot and put in the propagations, which of those propagations, because he used to have like kind of a long vine going down this way and I just kind of chopped it up, I'd say 3/4 of them survived, but definitely the propagation rate on this guy I feel like is a little bit lower than other Syngonium. Like I feel like Syngonium podophyllum, the success rate on those propagations is like almost 100%. I feel like any of those, so even like the Syngonium albo or like, you know, that Syngonium confetti that I just showed, those are all of the podophyllum variety. All those guys propagate so easily, but this erythrophyllum definitely, at least all based on my experience, yeah, not all of cuttings made it, which kind of surprised me, but maybe these guys are just a little bit tougher to propagate. But the ones that did survive are doing well, so soon enough I'll be able to pot them all up together. Since this guy is trailing down here, oh my goodness, this variegated string of hearts has been growing so much. I need to chop her again and then like kind of prop her back into the top of the pot because she's not super full on top, but she just keeps on growing. Like right now she's grown, oh goodness, I feel like in the last month she's grown like this whole section right here. You see that? And her leaves are just so pretty. I love this plant. It brings me so much happiness for sure. Yeah, she lives up here and she gets quite a bit of light from the grow lights, I would say. I recently potted up this gal and let's see, it looks like she has a little growth point down at the bottom here. My philodendron painted lady. But other than that, there's not a whole lot going on. Oh, actually, there's a new leaf trying to pop out right here. But it looks like she might be getting stuck because, again, it's another like philodendron thing. I feel like the painted lady has like the same growth pattern as like the other philodendron arabescens varieties. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, this might also technically be philodendron arabescens, but it's like a different cultivar, so painted lady. That's my suspicion, or at least that was sort of my impression. I could totally be wrong. But get that newest leaf. Look at the variegation, it's so pretty. And then of course there's like the new leaf coming from this leaf, so I'm kind of expecting it to be even more highly variegated. I don't know, we'll see. Oh, over here I do want to show you, this is my Tenanthe Berlin Marxii, and I feel like she's a little bit sad. I think I need to repot her. And also, she used to like live on top of my humidifier, so she was a bit higher up. But obviously, I don't have the humidifier on the floor anymore. So I want to get like a new plant stand or something for her so that she can live higher up and elevated, because I just feel like she looks better that way. And then over here, I don't know how you can see her. She's all the way in this corner. My poor little philodendron brantianum is, I mean, she's doing fine, and I took cuttings of her, so I'm gonna repot her with the cuttings eventually, take off this moss pole, and maybe move her to just a completely different spot in my house, just experiment, see if she'll do better in other places. I don't know. We'll have to see. But that's that corner. It's a little bit of a mess, but we'll figure it out eventually. Let's see, a bit higher up here, my philodendron Florida Ghost. This was the most recent leaf it came out with. It has started going back down to green already, but it was fairly creamy when it first emerged, which made me happy because, you know, it's the Florida Ghost doing the Florida Ghost thing. And look, okay, this is the cutest little thing. So the other day I was checking this plant for spider mites just because I have, you know, I'm paranoid about all the plants in my collection now, ever since I found them like a week ago on some of my plants. But okay, can you see? It's this precious little ladybug. It could be like a fake ladybug or whatever you call them. But regardless, it's a cute little guy. And he completely startled me because I was checking underneath the leaf of this Florida Ghost looking for spider mites, and he was just chilling on the underside of the leaf. So he startled me at first because I was not expecting to see a ladybug or whatever the heck he might be. And he was just vibing, just doing his thing. And honestly, I'm grateful to have him here because, I mean, if he eats any pests, like, go for it, my man. Like, just do it. And I noticed that there have been a few ladybugs randomly popping up in my house this winter, which again, I don't really mind because some people will like buy ladybugs to release as like a beneficial insect to eat pests and stuff like that. So if he's just here on his own, I mean, more power to you, dude. I love ladybugs. I have to like rotate this guy. Honestly, okay, this guy also really needs to be repotted so badly. My philodendron Florida Ghost. Like, I can literally see roots like on the side of the pot if I look from the top. I have been procrastinating doing that because I don't know where I'll put him. So I like how much light he's getting here from the grow light at the very top of the shelf, but you know, his pot is about as big as it can be to fit on this little shelf here. So I don't know. I'll figure something out eventually, and honestly I might just need to get new shelving and move the shelf to a different room, but obviously that costs money and I don't feel like spending that much money, so we'll see. But anyway, okay, here's another really fun highlight. So this is my Epipremnum pinnatum albo variegata. This is like the newest leaf that's come out. And look, do you see those little holes? Those are the beginnings of fenestrations, I believe, on this plant. And I am so excited. And also the variegation on it is just so pretty. And yeah, he's been growing really well for me. He was on my winter favorites list as well. And look, this is a new leaf coming out, and it looks like that variegation is gonna be beautiful. And then there's another new leaf coming on this right here. I don't know how you can see that again because it's a little small. It's a baby leaf coming out. But yeah, this guy is pregnant. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, so many new leaves. And oh my gosh, there's a fungus gnat in my face. Stop it. He's not like attaching himself to the wood or anything, but I think that he likes the support. So yes, oh my goodness. I'm loving this plant more and more every day. So very, very happy with the progress with that one. Let's see, I don't know if there's anything else over here of note other than, I guess, my Monstera siltebacana is still trucking along, still putting out new leaves. Sometimes I feel like she gets unhappy with me, so I'm still trying to kind of figure out what this plant wants, but at least she's growing, so I'm glad about that. But I kind of went through the ringer with this plant where the original plant rotted, so I had to cut her up, which is why she's like so tiny, because these were all from like little single leaf cuttings. But you know, I don't know, maybe someday I'll give her something to climb, but for now she's just chilling out. And then this is also, just wanted to give a quick shout out to my Syngonium strawberry milk, because let's see, which leaf was the newest one? I feel like this leaf is the newest one that she just unfurled right here. The variegation on this plant is so pretty. I love the pink sections on the plant. Anything else in this room? I guess this giant monstera over here just put out this leaf, which is so pretty. Although I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do with this monstera because it's getting so large, and I love it in my room, but also it's just getting kind of ridiculous. Okay, this is my lovely piano corner. But as usual, I think I'm gonna turn off this grow light because it's a little bit obnoxious. So give me a second. There we go. Okay, and now you get to see the Christmas vibes. Look, do you see these little lights? I got Christmas lights here and some little like pine cones and stuff like that. So I think it's kind of cute. But okay, first things first. Okay, my philodendron squamiferum. I love this plant, guys. I love this plant. And look, this is the most recent leaf that I think I featured last time. Like last time I did updates with my plants. It did figure itself out because before it was very floppy. I've noticed that. I feel like philodendron squamiferum leaves kind of come out floppy when they're emerging, but then once they harden off, they're less awkward. But guys, look at how big this plant is right next to my face. It is bigger than my head. Like, this leaf is incredible. And of course, whoop, I'm making messes. These are leftover favors, wedding favors from my wedding. Yeah, from a long time ago. But anyway, oh, look at that. Of course, look at these petioles. Every time I show off this plant, I have to show off the fuzzy petioles. This definitely makes me want to get like a philodendron serpens or fibrosum or something like that. Just because I know that they have like even fuzzier petioles, and I am all about the fuzzy petiole. Although of course I am obsessed with this leaf shape, like that Florida-esque leaf shape going on, which is lovely. And he's a little bit floppy because he was thirsty, but I watered him this morning, so he's still kind of taking up that water and getting some turgidity back into his leaves, but still beautiful. And then this is like the next leaf that's coming out right here. Can you see that? Although I think that this leaf is smaller than this leaf. It looks to be that way because this leaf was like absolutely, like you could tell it was going to be a big one, but this one is by comparison much smaller looking. See? So I don't know what that's about. It could be, I mean, maybe there's an issue with like the root system, or it's just not getting as much light or humidity as it was when this guy came out, because this guy started coming out when it was like more so November. But now we are solidly in December, solidly in winter. The sun is like gone and the humidity is subpar. So that could be more reasons why the leaf is smaller. And like this is supported, but it's not like rooting into anything either. So, you know, but oh, I just noticed too, there's another growth point down here, right here. Isn't that cool? So I don't know what it's gonna do with that, if it'll do anything, but it's a growth point. So that's fun. Okay, moving on. How did I have this plant? Oh my goodness, I'm making messes. I will say I love this plant, but yeah, he has a very wide birth or whatever. This like upright lemon lime philodendron thing, or I don't know. I still have to figure out what this thing is called. I think it's just like the upright lemon lime philodendron, although I'm kind of growing mine trailing because why not? I just felt like that would be fun. But yeah, he's actually really happy. He's growing this leaf and this leaf and some other leaves that are hidden, like this right here. So yeah, he's got lots of growth points and he seems pretty happy, even though yeah, he's very awkward. So I don't know, maybe someday I will make him less awkward. But oh, and if you hear typing in the background, that's my husband working. So
don't worry about it.
I just realized, I was like, oh shoot, there's some typing going on. I didn't even notice it because I'm like...
Typing is relaxing.
Yeah. I don't know how much the mic will pick up, but who knows. Okay, guys, look. This is my Calathea ornata, or I don't know, is it Gapertia? I think it might be a Gapertia, but most people still know it as a Calathea ornata or like pinstripe Calathea. I'm so happy, so happy. So this guy, I think, was my first Calathea ever. I'm very impressed that he's still alive, still with us, but he has been through it, clearly. because his leaves are sparse, but he's putting out like 3 leaves at once. So look at that guy. Look at this little taquito rolls right here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So I'm hoping that like he's starting to take off now. He just seems really happy with what's going on. So those are good things. And then as well, on top of that, we got the Calanthea macoyana, or Grapertia macoyana. And so look, do you see how healthy? Obviously she's still got some crispy edges because that's to be expected, but she's got some new growth happening. Like, oh my gosh, it's hard to like tell in the forest of leaves going on, but I swear she has like at least 4 leaves popping up right now all at the same time. And remember, like, she was one of my struggling plants in my struggling plants video from a couple months ago, but she's happy again, inexplicably. I did do a couple of little things. I think that she had some mild root rot, and so like I just went in, I cut off the bad roots, and then I refreshed the soil, and she seems much happier now. And this is also, yeah, one of the new leaves too, which is beautiful and tender and happy. So I'm happy that she likes me again. So that's a thumbs up right there. What else is happening? Of course, don't mind my humidifier. It's kind of blocking the view, but let's see. Big god. Oh my gosh, stop. All right. This guy, I love this plant. He's got lots of leaves happening too. I don't know. Can you see that? There's a leaf there, and leaf there. So he's taking off. I think he's, oh, new leaf here too. He's really taken off. I think that he really likes being right next to the humidifier. And I just kind of drape him right there. My lemon lime Maranta. This begonia is surviving. Here, the mother plant of my begonia maculata is taking off again, but this is the baby plant, and you'll see later I've made so many babies from this plant. Oh my word. I'm probably going to give them out as Christmas presents to some people. Some new leaves have started growing, which is very encouraging. I had to cut off quite a few of the old leaves because they had crisped up a lot, and I think that's because she was kind of shocked when I moved her from like the humidity boxes to soil to like mostly ambient humidity. There's a humidifier here, but like it's nothing in comparison to like the prop box she was in. So I have noticed when begonias transition from high humidity to like low humidity, or like, you know, if there's any sort of sudden humidity change or they're not watered enough, they get crispy edges. Here's the mama with all of her new growth just popping off like crazy. Like I completely pretty much cut this plant down almost entirely just a couple months ago, and she's been growing. So I was going to like have this because I kind of restarted the plant here. This was going to be my new main plant, but she's growing back again so nicely. I don't know. I'm sort of undecided on what I want to do. I feel like there's nothing really that new happening in this corner. Although I will say this Philodendron Brazil has continued growing really well, even through the whole winter time. Like, I feel like I blinked and he was like this long. Like before, maybe just a few months ago, he was only like here. But now he's here, so he's beautiful. I love this plant so much. But yeah, there's not a ton going on. I feel like my Super Blue has a few new leaves and stuff, but I feel like I need to get this guy into higher light because just especially during the winter time, they do get some western exposure and southern exposure, I think, just because like during the winter time because the sun is lower, but at the same time, because it's so overcast, it's just not nearly enough. So I want to get this Super Blue growing a lot faster, but there are a couple of new leaves that are like kind of cute, but I don't know, maybe I'll put this guy in a window someday. But he fits so nicely down here. It's hard to sacrifice that, you know. I just added a command hook here to hold him up because he was flopping over. But honestly, I just need to get a taller trellis, I think. yeah, obviously he's getting way too long. But the cuttings that I potted into there at the bottom are doing fairly well. They're stable, I feel like. Over here, it's totally overexposed. But those are my little Hoyas. And I think because it's so backlit, I'm going to like bring them over one by one over here to show you what's happening with them. At least like the ones where there are like exciting things happening. All right, first and foremost, here's my Hoya polynera. First of all, oh my gosh, look how pretty this plant is. But he started off like a new growth point. So you can see right here, he's growing a new little growth point. Although I will say, I've had this issue with a lot of my Hoya where like only one of the leaves will develop and then the other one like falls off. You know what I'm talking about? So like, come on. Right here. So if you're like, see this leaf is doing great, but this leaf is going to fall off. I almost can guarantee it's just gonna die because it's just not developing along with the other, like it's, you know, because it usually grows in pairs, the leaves do. So if you know why that happens, let me know. Is it like a nutrient deficiency, or am I not watering it enough? Is it just a side effect of flat mites, which I've been battling? Like, what's the deal with that, you know? But I'm still happy that at least he's growing. This is the first like new growth that he's given me, period, since I got him. I got him really recently, actually, like just within the last like 2 months or so, I think, or 2.5 months. So I am happy that he's growing for me this quickly, because sometimes Hoya just take a long time to start growing once you get them. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about the whole 2-leaf situation. Okay, but yeah, here's my Hoya villosa. Don't mind the sulfur fungicide again. But yeah, she's also doing that stupid thing where one of the leaves is growing, but the other leaf is not. I should probably look into that because it's happened a couple of times. It happened with this leaf too. And this leaf also came out kind of dumpy, but I was like, okay, I'll give you grace because that was the first leaf that came out in my care. So you're still figuring out my environment, but yeah, so this is the new leaf and I'm excited for it, but also I want it to not be stupid. Yeah, she looks kind of funny with all the sulfur on her, but you know, it is what it is for now. Okay, and I'm really excited about this one. This is my Hoya Fichii, and yes, more sulfur splash. But okay, first of all, this pot is really cool. I love how aged the terracotta is. It looks kind of small and sad, right? Like not sad, but like he's a little guy. But can you see that one little green spot right there? That's a growth point that like just started developing very recently. So I'm very, very happy because I've had this plant for 2.5 months, 3 months. If you couldn't notice, I went on kind of a Hoya kick. So like I got several Hoya over the span of a few months. Oh my gosh, my newborn is grunting over there. It took him a while, but he's finally growing. So that's happy. And then here's my Hoya carnosa compacta. And if you're familiar with my collection, you might be like, Joy, how did it grow so fast? And it didn't. I originally had like several little plants all potted together. About half of them died because of mealybugs and flat mites and potentially root rot. It was a whole mess. But this strand started growing again and started growing up here. And now it's also starting a new growth point down here. Can you see those new leaves? So happy. And it's starting to grow here. So these were the 2 plants that were left in the pot after a lot of them died. And then I went to my local garden center and they had some little like 3-inch pots of Hoya compacta selling for like $5 each. So I was like, you know what? I think I want to get one of those and then combine them together to like make a fuller plant, which I enjoy doing that. So this is like the new plant going on. I kept them separate for a long time, treated them both thoroughly for pests and that sort of thing. But I just potted them together, I think last night, into this little pot, and I'm hoping that they'll be happy, that they'll get along with each other, you know, because I think they're just so cute all together. And it's my dream to have like a full cascading pot of Hoya compacta one day. I've just had a lot of problems with this plant, so I just really want this plant to grow well for me someday. Okay, I hate to bother him because he's doing so well, but this, okay, is it, I've seen debates on Croniana versus Lacunosa for this plant. It looks like there's a mixture of like, oh, a splashy Croniana or Lacunosa, and then there's a mixture of like the super silver kind in here. I bought it like this. See? So pretty. But recently it just started absolutely popping off with growth. But he does look thirsty to me right now because some of the leaves are a little bit squishy or like flexible, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna water him right after this because I'm noticing that some of the leaves are wrinkly. You see? I don't like to wait quite this long, but yeah, I'm sorry, mister. I feel like that wasn't good for you to wait that long to be watered, but it's so pretty. And you see how much he's growing? He did nothing for the longest time, but now he's happy. So I'm excited. I wonder if I can get him to like trail, you know? That'd be really fun. That would be my goal for this plant, but it's a really, really pretty plant. I might take some cuttings of him sometime soon, but I don't know. I'll leave him alone for a little while, see what he does, and then maybe I'll take some cuttings after that. But okay, I'm gonna go water him before I forget, and then we can move on. And here's my kitchen. This is the south-facing window, so sometimes I cluster plants over here. Honestly, long term, I'd love to hang plants in this window more, but I just have to set that up. But okay, so these are like all the babies I've made that I think are gonna be Christmas presents that I was talking about earlier. And yeah, this is my sulfur treated plant over here. Then over here, okay, oh my goodness, I just wanted to show off this beauty. This is my rickrack cactus. It's got new growth here. And over here. Look at that. And okay, these aerial roots are going absolutely insane. Like, sorry dudes. I don't know. If you know why they take off like that, let me know. I think it's kind of cute. But yeah, I think he's been enjoying his new pot since I repotted him relatively recently. Let me see, do I need to water him? I think I might need to water him because he seems a little bit thirsty too. So I'll set him in the sink for that. Oh yeah, and then just as a little update. This is like that red log peperomia that I kind of rehabbed like a month ago. And I made a video on it, and he's been acclimating nicely to his pot. It looks like literally like all of the cuttings have rooted and they've all started growing. They just rooted directly in the soil, which is super encouraging. But yeah, he's looking pretty cute. And then over here, this is just like the other side of my kitchen and another south-facing window. And this is the cactus that belongs to my husband's office, but we haven't taken the plants back there yet. My climbing aloe seems happy, which is positive. These are just Syndapsis pictus argyris propagations I've taken, and they're both growing really nicely. And I was wanting to give them as presents. Look, so cute. I was wanting to give them as presents, like for Christmas and stuff. But I almost want to keep them now because they're so cute. Okay, and then this is like the most important thing. Right over here. Okay, so this is a Philodendron Florida Ghost cutting. I took 3 cuttings from my mother plant. I had them growing in sphagnum moss in my prop box, and they just were not taking off. And I was getting impatient. Like, they've all been in there for like a month and a half, and I'm having a really hard time propagating them. I don't know how well you can see that. I just switched them to water. He's finally growing a root. It's kind of ridiculous. It's like you went from like perfect conditions in a south-facing window with sphagnum moss and like 100% humidity, and then I stick you in water and you start rooting. Like, come on, man. So, I don't know, if you're having trouble rooting your Florida ghost in sphagnum moss or perlite or like some of your other methods that you may have adopted over time, I guess you can try out good old water and see if that happens, like see if that does anything. I did add some like liquid plant food to the water, so like the extra nutrient boost maybe helped, I guess. But yeah, so we'll see if he continues doing well. I might, like if the other cuttings still aren't doing well in sphagnum moss, I might just switch them all to water and see if water propagation really is the ticket, you know. Well, those were my houseplant highlights for this month / season. I might do another one of these like as we get closer to like February or something like that, as more things are happening with my plants maybe. But yeah, those were the current highlights. Man, videos like these always take so much longer than I expect them to, but then I remember I have a lot of plants and as I'm looking at them, I'm like noticing, oh, these guys have new leaves and these guys have like things going on that I want to tell you guys about. You know, I do a lot of plant chores and things on camera, but I don't show everything that I do. You know, things happen that I want to share with my plants, I guess. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed just seeing how my collection is faring this winter, and I hope that you guys have positive things happening in your collection as well. Obviously, a lot of negative things can happen during this season just because of lack of light, lack of humidity, pests, all that stuff. So I am just praying that you guys are having at least a decent experience this winter. So far, I'm honestly really surprised with how well my plants are doing for the most part. Like, not all of them are happy, but most of them seem happy, so yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a comment, like, subscribe, all those wonderful things, and yeah, I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye-bye!